question. Have you ever fired a client, and when to fire a client? Yes, I have. Fortunately and unfortunately. I had a client, and I'm not going to give any names out of respect, because it was actually a couple of associates. They're not a couple, but it was two associates. And I'm still friend with one of the associates. But the other person was kind of a toxic person. I kind of knew it, but just looking at the history of people she had worked with, even people inside her company. So I was making good money with this client. Actually, it was my main client, which is a mistake I made at the time. And I'm strongly encouraging you to not have just one single client. Now, to be clear, I did not have just one single client, but I was trying to make room for that client. So I was not taking new contracts. So I was working with this client, and I've been working with them for a year, a little over a year. And the time I worked there had been 9 other people working for them. And when I left, I was number 9 to leave. So 8 people left before me, and when I left, there was only 1 person left. So that should give you an idea of the kind of toxic environment and relationship you could have with this client. So usually all I ask from my client is respect, which I give them first. I give respect to my client, and that's what I expect in return. And from the very first moments, I always show that I respect people and I'm asking respect in return. I never tolerate the kind of BS where they talk bad to you. If you start doing that, it's not going to work. So for like a year or so, it was fine. And I was seeing how they were treating other contractors and even their own employees, but she never dared to speak to me like this. And then at one point, it was around Christmas time, I hadn't taken days off for years, to be honest, apart from a day off here and there. I was going to take a couple of weeks off. I have 2 daughters. They don't live with me because I'm divorced. So I don't get to see my daughters all the time. And I only get them from Christmas 1 year out of 2. So it was the time where I was going to have my daughters with me. And what happened is that client asked me just before, I think it was on the 22nd of December or something. So they called me and they said, listen, we have big problems because the investors, they say they're going to remove everything. They're going to take all the money back if we don't start selling a lot in January. But for that, we need a new website. Because yada, 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 they had a few reasons. The investors wanted a new website, which in my opinion, didn't make sense because the other website was fine. The problem was not the website. The problem was not the marketing. The problem, in my opinion, was the pricing of the products, because it was supposed to be a luxury product, but the pricing wasn't high enough for people used to luxury items. And on the other hand, the price was way too high for people not used to luxury. So it was in the middle spot and it was not really good. I had been voicing my opinion on the matter, but hey, at one point I give my advice, but I'm not gonna force it through the throat of my clients. Cut a long story short, they needed the new website for the 4th of January, and this was the 22nd of December, and it was an e-commerce website. Now, because I knew that they were going through some tough times, I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. But I knew what that meant. That meant not seeing my daughters for the couple of weeks they were there. And the next time would be in 2 years. So it was a really tough decision. And, I was trying to be the nice person. I was trying to understand. And I thought, okay, maybe I can do this faster. And I thought I could maybe do it in 6 or 10 days. I still get a few days with my family. But that didn't happen. So I worked day and night because it was a complex website. And if I had to quote the time I spent working on that project during the holidays, working at night, that would have cost so much money. And I know that they were running out of money. So I made a discount of about 80%. So they only paid like 20% of my work. And that's something I usually never do. But in this case, it was a bit different. I used to know them before they were clients, and one of them was my friend. So I thought, okay, this is what I can do to help. So what happened was I finished the website in time, but then they didn't sell more, which is exactly what I had told them. A new website and some more marketing material and campaigns is not going to do anything if the pricing is not right. So basically, the investors were not happy because there weren't any sales. Well, actually, they were quite happy with the new website. They liked it. But what they were asking to that client is to get more sales, which they did not really get. So what happened at one point, she asked me to come to her office, and you have to bear in mind, I live on an island and it's on the opposite side of the island. So it was like, best case is an hour drive, but usually there's always something happening, either an accident or just the regular traffic jams or a combo of two. So when I go there, I know it's going to be like 1 hour and a half or 2 hours to get there and back. And the thing is, she still owed me some money. So I was kind of pissed off because I had been working so hard during the holidays, not seeing my daughter, and I hadn't been paid. And usually they paid on time. So I could understand, but at the same time, the way she asked me to come, it was like, because the investors were mad at her, she was mad at me. I could hear it on the phone. So I knew it was kind of the beginning of the end, the way she talked to me. And the first thing I said is, okay, I will come once you pay me. So good business relationship come with meeting deadlines. I really worked hard and made an outstanding discount. So I think it's fair for me to ask my due. So she paid. So I went to the meeting, and then she started talking to me really bad, and there was no respect anymore. At that point, all I could see was the 2 or 3 weeks that I spent working day and night, not seeing my daughter that I would see in 2 years for Christmas. But I was trying to keep my cool, I'm a professional. So up to that point, it went fairly well. I was trying to explain my point. And once again, I stressed the fact that I really thought the issue was not technical or marketing or design. It was more about the pricing. And at one point, she asked me to make some more changes to the website. And the changes she asked me, I knew in my head it was going to be 3 or 4 days of work. So all I said was, I can do it, no problem, but this time it's going to be my normal rate. So no discount. So this is how much it's going to cost for 4 days of work. And then she started going all red and almost started screaming. And she was like,
yeah, I don't understand.
She was basically implying that I was being dishonest because I was charging my normal rate. And there I completely lost it. I mean, inside, because I stayed professional, but I lost it. I knew it was done. We had the meeting in a cafe. I mean, they had their office on the 3rd floor. We were at the cafe in the building. And I just stood up and I said, listen, this is not going to work. So this is the last time you see me.
Bye.
Because I had tried everything else and this was way too much. That felt so good, honestly. And on the other hand, I was losing so much money because this was my main client. So it was really scary. But honestly, the feeling of just firing that bad client, because there are some bad contractors, but there are some bad clients. So it felt so good. And the funny thing is, the waiter at the cafe, he looked at me like,
man, I've been willing to do that for a year or so.
Because nobody could bear that person. Just to give you a heads up, when she goes to the bank, they call security upon her. That's the type of person. But once again, up to that point, she had always been respectful with me because she knew that she couldn't do those things with me. But at the stage where the investor put so much pressure on her, I don't know, maybe she had a bad day or something, but hey, these kind of things happen. But you should never be afraid to let people know you want to be respected. Now, the thing is, don't get into fights or screaming, that kind of stuff. I know sometimes it's hard, but always try to be professional as much as you can. I did my best. I just stood up and I said, look at me, because this is the last time you're going to see me. But the thing is, I'm still friends with our associate today. He started a new business, and I know he's going to succeed, and I may work with him in the future. So never be afraid. I see so many web designers, freelancers in general tolerate abuse from bad clients. Let me tell you this.
You don't need those clients.
When I fired that client, it was a leap of faith, because if I was just looking at the fact that it was my main client and the money I got every month out of this, it was like a commercial suicide. But the truth is, well, I think it was the next month I found a new client almost for 80% of what I was making with the previous client. But then I didn't want to make the same mistake twice. I actually wanted to have less hours so that I could take on more clients. But it worked out.
So don't be afraid.